Let's talk about donor cultivation. In many ways, this is a kind of counterbalance to the presentation on making the ask, because making the ask can feel very transactional. It's about directly getting actual money from donors and from potential donors. Donor cultivation is about building and maintaining a relationship with those donors over time. The ask might get them into that cultivation relationship, but often there's a lot of work that takes place before you even make that ask that is also part of the donor cultivation process. And so you want to think about each of these critical elements of fundraising, specifically fundraising from donors. Donor cultivation is about relationship building. It is not strictly transactional. Board members serve as ambassadors for the organization, and that's why having that elevator pitch is so critical for board members, so that they really do know the information they need to know and the message that they need to present as they serve as those ambassadors. Effective cultivation relies on shared responsibility. That means that staff members will often serve as critical cultivators of donors, as will other volunteers for the organization, but board members play a critical role. Board members help match donors to impact, and so they can spend time having conversations with donors. That's volunteer time, and it's often time that the staff don't have because they're engaged with the operational needs of the organization. The board members can spend that time with donors to understand where they connect best with the organization and where their donations can have the most impact in ways that are most meaningful to them. So for this activity, I want you to each have the names of current donors. Each board member would get two names, and I realize that's drawing out of a much larger set of names, but this is about practice with thinking about donor cultivation. It's a practice that you're going to always have to be engaging with just a subset, and you cultivate with a few at a time, and then you try to cultivate some more, and then cultivate some more. It's very difficult to just constantly cultivate everybody. That's too overwhelming. So each board member gets two names. And for each of these names, think about why does this person give? In other words, go back to their motivation. What would make them stop giving? Is there something that they are most invested in that if the organization changed or some value they have that if the organization violated, that would lead them to stop giving? And then on the other hand, what would elevate their giving? What might motivate them to give more? So pause here, take some time to engage with this activity. After the activity, let's move to this discussion. What are the tangible steps that the board can take to cultivate these donors? And across the different donors that you just examined in the activity, are there patterns of information that you learned, patterns of steps that you can take that you really want to highlight? What does the board need from the staff to make this happen? Maybe there is access to better information sharing, better management of the data, lists of donors, particular donor interaction information that you want to have access to, things like that. At the same time, how can the board minimize the impact on staff time and resources? So you don't want to just let this be a moment where the board brainstorms a set of things and then passes all of the work on to the staff. That's the opposite of the ideal board staff relationship. So take some time to have this discussion. And then a few resources for further learning to close out the conversation. A few readings here about donor cultivation and a video to watch the title of which is a reminder that donor cultivation is not just the ask. So I have provided you with some information about how to make an ask. An ask is a real thing that is very important, but getting beyond the ask is important here as well. So that's why we have this session on donor cultivation.